There are places on the planet where temperatures drop to minus 70 degrees Celsius, places where the sun disappears for 6 months straight, places where the air is so thin that your lungs literally bleed, places where rain hasn't fallen in over 400 years. And you know what's the most insane part? People live in these places. They're not passing through. They're not on temporary scientific missions. They live there, raise children there, grow old there, die there. How is this possible? Why would anyone choose to live in conditions that would kill most humans within hours? In the next 8 minutes, you're going to discover the most extreme and inhospitable places where human life insists on existing. And the last city I'm going to reveal, nobody should know it exists, but you're about to find out why. Oymyakon, Siberia, Russia. The official lowest temperature ever recorded there? Minus 67.7 degrees Celsius. But residents say it's reached minus 71 degrees Celsius. At that temperature, your saliva freezes before it hits the ground. If you breathe in too deeply, your lungs can freeze from the inside. Cars need to stay running 24 hours a day, otherwise the engine oil turns to stone. And cell phones? They shut down in seconds. But here's the most disturbing part. 500 people live there permanently. Children go to school, adults work, families have dinner together. The only difference? They get less than 3 hours of sunlight per day in winter. And if someone dies, the body can't be buried. Why? Because the ground is permanently frozen at 1.5 meters deep. They need to thaw the earth with fire for 3 days before they can dig a grave. 3 days burning wood just to bury a body. Now tell me, what makes a person choose to live like this? The answer is darker than you imagine. Oymyakon was originally a Soviet forced labor camp, a gulag. People were forced to live there. And when the Soviet Union fell, many simply stayed. Because after generations, that frozen hell became home. La Rinconada, Peru, 5,100 meters above sea level, the highest city on the planet, and also one of the most dangerous. At this altitude, the air has 50% less oxygen than at sea level. Your body enters a state of chronic hypoxia, permanent oxygen deprivation. This causes constant headaches, daily nosebleeds, chronic insomnia, accelerated aging, pregnant women who lose their babies because the fetus can't develop. But you know how many people live there? 70,000. 70,000 people living in a city where the human body literally decomposes faster. Why? Why would anyone do this? Gold. Beneath that mountain lies one of the largest informal gold mines in the world. And here's the darkest part. The miners work under a system called cachorreo. It works like this. You work 30 days without getting paid anything. On the 31st day, you can take all the gold you can carry in 24 hours. You might leave rich, or you might leave with nothing. It's literally a real-life casino. And people gamble their very existence on this roulette wheel. They live in a frozen hell at 5 kilometers altitude for a chance at wealth. Most die poor, but hope keeps them there. Dallol, Ethiopia, the hottest inhabited place on Earth. Average annual temperature, 34.4 degrees Celsius. But in summer, it can reach 55 degrees Celsius in the shade. And here's the deadly detail. This isn't an ordinary city. Dallol sits on top of an active volcano. The ground bubbles. Toxic gases escape from the earth. Pools of sulfuric acid form yellow and green lakes that look like they're from another planet. The water that springs from the ground has a pH of 0, pure acid that melts flesh. And yet, miners live there, extracting salt, manually, under 50 degrees Celsius. But there's something even stranger. There isn't a single tree within a 100-kilometer radius. It hasn't rained in years. The air humidity is so low that your sweat evaporates before you realize you're sweating. Dehydration happens in minutes. And if you get lost, you have less than 6 hours before your body goes into total failure. But here's what nobody tells you. These people don't have a choice. They're born into nomadic tribes that have lived there for centuries. Before governments, before borders, before the modern world decided that land was uninhabitable. For them, it's just home. A brutal home, but home. Tristan da Cunha, South Atlantic, the most isolated inhabited community in the world. It's 2,400 kilometers from the nearest mainland. There's no airport. The only way to get there is by boat, a 6-day journey from South Africa. And the boat only comes 9 times a year. 270 people live on this island. Everyone knows everyone. They're all distant relatives. And here's the disturbing part. They live beneath an active volcano. In 1961, the volcano erupted. The entire population was evacuated to England. You know what happened? 2 years later, most of them returned, voluntarily. They left civilization, jobs, modern schools, to return to a volcanic island in the middle of nowhere. Why? Because after generations of isolation, they couldn't adapt to the normal world. London was too big, too fast, too loud. The island, with its brutal storms, total isolation, and constant volcanic threat, was home. And this raises a deep philosophical question. What's more dangerous? Nature, or leaving the only place you know? For them, the answer was clear. And now, the place nobody should know exists. Coober Pedy, Australia, a town where 80% of the population lives underground. Underground houses, underground churches, bars, hotels, even underground golf courses. Why? Why would people choose to live like moles? Because in Coober Pedy, surface temperatures reach 50 degrees Celsius in summer. Sandstorms that last for days. There are no rivers, no lakes. Water has to be brought from 24 kilometers away. And yet, 1,700 people live there, digging, excavating, searching for what? Opals. Coober Pedy produces 70% of the world's opals, and these gemstones are worth millions. But here's the dark truth nobody talks about. The town looks like Mars. Giant holes everywhere. Abandoned mines. Signs saying, warning, you could fall into a 30-meter hole and die. People have died this way, walking at night, falling into an abandoned mining shaft, and nobody finds the body for weeks. The town is literally a minefield, but the promise of wealth keeps people digging, living underground, as if they'd given up on the surface completely. These places exist, these people exist, and they keep on living, despite everything, proving that uninhabitable is just a word, and that the human limit might not exist. The question that remains is, how far would you go? How much would you sacrifice for a different life? If this video left you amazed, smash that like button now. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. Comment, which of these places would you never have the courage to visit? Share this with someone who needs to see how far humanity is capable of going. And remember, the impossible is only what we haven't tried yet. Until next time.